Hey, everybody. What is going on? LBHT crew B Ferris. What is going on?
It's been a harrowing
Not ready.
evening. A harrowing
Ferris,
evening.
man.
I told you about it.
Ferris had. I look at Ferris. Ferris had time to set this up.
I know.
And he fumbled it.
And somehow he managed to turn off his microphone. No one can hear you.
We just spoke to you seconds ago.
What did you do?
And now everything's muted.
What happened, bro? Oh no.
Literally before you guys saw the opening credits, we were talking to Ferris. And something happened on the other end, and now he's muted. That's okay. He's back. He's back. Ferris, say something.
I'm back.
You're back. You're back.
I'm back.
Well done, Ferris.
I'ma need a day off. I think I called Ferris up.
Sorry.
Oh my god.
There we go.
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
You know, it was mere minutes ago when Ferris was like, "I've done this a few times, Brodny."
I know what I'm doing, sir.
I'm a veteran at this.
Oh my god.
All right. Okay. Listen, man. Training camp is starting back up. You guys are starting to flock back in. All right. So we're gonna look. It just started, so there's not a whole lot to discuss. But we're going to be discussing some training camp, some other notes, and some more mainstream media beef. I love discussing that stuff because for years, mainstream media love airing out drama of athletes, celebrities, and whatnot. But they always have to keep it in house. Never air out their own personal beef. But now all that stuff is getting out there. So let's talk about
this one's two athletes though, so it's not.
It's two athletes.
Yeah.
It's not like a rando reporter, you know what I mean? It's not like Fine Bomb in the guy. It's now player versus player.
But they're media now, and one of them I don't really like that much. So I
wish I to find out this.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. So and we have some important WNBA news and a topic to discuss, which is why we had to have Ferris here, because Ferris he's an expert on these things, and it's a great conversation having Ferris on when we discuss the WNBA because he brings that excitement, and we want to push that sport forward. So let's give a shout out to the chat, man. Everybody's in here. Who was here first? Let me look on YouTube because on here it's always all mixed up. Who was first? Osmond.
I didn't fumble. Okay, I was sabotaged by technology. There's a difference.
I don't think so.
I was perfectly fine until you. All right, whatever, man.
Shout out to Osmond.
I did get your message. We'll be talking about that next week. Thank you very much, Osmond.
Yep. Thank you. Urban's in the house. Salute to Urban. Our guy Zeke Hokage, what's good? Just Aloe's in the house. Salute Just Aloe. Says hello, LBHT crew. Hope you're all having a great week. Gatekeepers beware. Facts. We got DDSQ. Salute. Jemiah Barnes in the house. Says, what up, fellas? What's up, Jemiah? Matt D in the house.
What's up, man?
We got Killer. Says, hola, Jose. And Queso Brodny. B loves his cheese. All right. Who else we got in here? Tracy.
What's going on, Tracy?
What's up, Tracy? Says, glad to hear it, guys. When is that newsletter coming out? It's coming. I didn't like you putting me on blast.
When is that coming out?
All right. Okay. I was waiting. Okay. You told me go ahead and just keep it the way it was. I was waiting for you to change your mind and say, no, change it to the other thing. But all right.
You can do it. We can change it later. You can just go ahead and put it out.
All right.
Let's Get Ready Network got a newsletter.
It's not going to be tonight because I'm going to be too tired. Tomorrow.
What's up, Ferris?
We have a newsletter.
Stop plugging your own stuff at the top of the show, Ferris. All right, we're going to ask you later.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead.
Doing that. Okay, so you guys, you know what? You guys are not Let's Get Ready Network anymore. You guys are now
Good Friends, Better Rivals.
Good Friends, Better Rivals.
We're Good Friends, Better Rivals on our sports page, and we are the post credits on our entertainment channel.
And what's the newsletter called?
So the newsletter is LGRN All Access. It is we recap the week and then preview it. And I have started to write a column. I've released 2 articles already. One was about the financial malpractice and player malpractice of the FIFA World Cup, Club World Cup. Yeah, the FIFA Club World Cup. And the second one was me ranting about how the NFLPA, first part, it was less profane laced like the one I had on my show. This one was more professional, like Jose would say, which I've learned to do more often. But this one was more of a recap of the collusion case and how, like, it touches Ravens fans near and dear. The first time it happened was they wanted to screw over Lamar Jackson because, unlike Deshaun Watson, who got the contract with Cleveland, Lamar Jackson would have deserved the fully guaranteed $250 million deal. But Steve Bisciotti on record said he didn't want to give it to him, and he was mad that Cleveland gave Deshaun that contract because he knew, unlike Deshaun, who had sat out a year and then had the sexual harassment allegations on top of that, he knew his player would have deserved the 5 years, $230.
Don't go too far to that, because we're gonna talk about that later. But you're absolutely right. And that's something that gets glazed over a lot. That Steve Bisciotti was on record basically saying, "I don't like that because he don't want to pay that for Lamar."
Mm-hmm.
Right? He didn't say that those exact words. He said we don't have to play that game. Right?
Yep.
It's not a game. You have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Pay him.
Yes.
But yes, all right. So LGRN All Access. That's the newsletter. Go check that out. And our newsletter will be up. All right, man. Tomorrow or Friday. It's not going to be tonight. I can't do it tonight. All right. Tomorrow or Friday, the newsletter will be out. Check it out. LBHTShow.com is where you can sign up for it. All right. Okay. Jeremy's in the house. What's up, Jeremy? Appreciate you coming through. Our guy Nitro's here from the Wonderkin Show. Says, don't run from this hug when we finally see each other, Jose and B.
Don't do
you
it,
know what, Nitro? I'm going to give you a big hug. Okay. That's our guy, man.
Sounds like
that's our guy.
Don't do it.
That sounds like a threat.
And you know what, Nitro? We are going to meet each other one day, man, for sure. All right. If you ever come up for a game, hit us up. All right. And if you're ever down to Florida, I'll hit you up. Definitely.
Why would you be down to Florida? I normally want to go to Florida.
Listen, I mean, look, it's a fun place to go. It's a fun place to go.
I'm not saying that it doesn't have fun areas.
You're talking about the political environment right now.
I'm talking about the political environment, and I'm also talking about gators. And I'm talking about 15-minute thunderstorms followed by half an hour blast of 115-degree weather, followed again by another 25-minute thunderstorm, just all day long. I don't like it. Right?
I mean, it's no different from Maryland. We got bears, snakes, spiders, deer.
Yeah, but you can stay away from those things. Down in Florida, like
the
gators
tornadoes.
come to you.
Sometimes the bears come to you over here.
Only if you feed them. People in Hopetown.
Pay the bills. What's going on? Salute. Who else did we get? Did we get everybody? Looks like everybody. NET Sports. What's going on, man? Thanks for coming through. All right. So let's get into it because we have a lot to discuss. And he said, "Oh, so you've been here before, B?"
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Me and my girl used to love going to Miami. That was our favorite place to go. So, yeah, you might see us out there one day. All right, we want to get the show started. We have a lot to discuss. This and the overtime show. We got a lot to discuss on that as well. So it's going to be a pretty fun night. So if you're not part of our patreon.com/LBHTShow, it's only $5, right? Or more if you want one of these shiny coins and then some, all right? So go ahead and do that. All right, we'll get the show started. But first, we like to start every show with a Black History fact. And B and Akole have a Black History fact for you.
Favorite part.
This week on the LBHT Black History Fact, William Alexander Leidesdorff Jr., born in 1810 in the Danish West Indies, modern-day U.S. Virgin Islands, was a trailblazing figure whose life defied the racial and social boundaries of his time. The son of a Danish Jewish planter and a woman of African and Spanish descent, Leidesdorff moved to New Orleans in the early 1830s, where he became a U.S. citizen and launched a successful maritime career. As captain of the schooner Julia Ann, he sailed through Latin America and the Pacific before settling in the small village of Yerba Buena, what would later become San Francisco, in 1841. Once in California, Leidesdorff quickly became a cornerstone of the region's development. He built San Francisco's first hotel, established its first commercial shipping warehouse, and operated the first steamboat on the Bay and Sacramento River. His entrepreneurial spirit extended to founding California's first horse racetrack and acquiring a massive land grant, Rancho Rio de los Americanos, spanning 35,000 acres near present-day Sacramento. To secure his business interests under Mexican rule, he became a Mexican citizen in 1844, and a year later, he was appointed U.S. Vice Consul to Mexico, making him the first African-American to hold a diplomatic post in U.S. history. Leidesdorff's civic contributions were equally groundbreaking. He served on San Francisco's first city council, became city treasurer, and helped establish the public school system, even presiding over its first board. His influence was so profound that when he died suddenly in 1848, at just 38 years old, the city declared a day of mourning in his honor. Shortly before his death, gold was discovered on his land, dramatically increasing its value and making his estate worth over $1.4 million, a fortune that would be worth tens of millions today. Often called the African founding father of California, Leidesdorff's legacy is one of bold vision, civic leadership, and entrepreneurial brilliance. His life stands as a powerful testament to Black achievement in the early American West, and his contributions helped lay the foundation for the rise of San Francisco and the state of California itself.
All right. Salute to that Black History fact. Salute to William Leidesdorff from the Virgin Islands.
From
That's
St. Croix,
our
in
neck of the
fact.
woods. St. Croix, okay.
Yeah, Bazel says he thinks he's heard of this guy before because Bazel sent this in. Thank you very much, Bazel. Appreciate you. I just want to say that I don't think that it was very mysterious that he died right after people discovered gold on his property.
Nope,
That doesn't
he
seem
was killed.
mysterious to me.
He
Right.
was killed.
I love how when we learn about our these Black history, it's always it's always kind of glossed over the fact that these people were murdered and pillaged and robbed, and he didn't just mysteriously die. They there's no mystery about it. They took him off his property. They killed him probably in the most brutal way, and then they took his property. That's what happened. I mean, it's not funny, but that's what happens in a lot of these situations. But people like to kind of
Shout out to the Bay.
downplay that brutal history. Shout out to the Bay. There you go. Yes.
Yeah. You want to know how
All right,
messed up this is? We didn't learn this in California public schools.
Of course not.
That he's not in anything. He's not in anything. When I was like when it was being played, so I went back and I was like, did we learn about this guy or did I just forget? I was like, nah, I wouldn't have forgotten about this dude. We did not learn this at all, like zero.
Yeah.
Which makes sense if we know America.
Dan Franklin says, die suddenly. Yeah, getting killed is sudden.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's the most sudden, in fact.
I don't know if long movies or not. Watch Killers of the Flower Moon. Same story, man. The Native Americans in Texas, the Osage, they found oil on their land, and it's called liquid gold for a reason. Literally, they get murdered left and right and get their stuff stolen by the U.S. government and random white dudes all the time. There's a scene in the movie where literally dude just rolls up on this girl's house, shoots her in the head, steals her baby, then walks off. Because they show you the callousness and the nonchalant violence of trying to steal someone's oil because they wanted the oil. Like the way Scorsese made it was like nonchalant. Dude just rolled up, shot her, and walked away. That's how violent and nasty some of those people are. It was nonchalant. It didn't bother them. It was in their nature.
And that's why you don't learn about it in school.
Right. And there's no justice, for these people, right? What happens is those people that committed those murders and stolen land, they pass it on through the generations, right? So you have families that come from that old money, or they had wealth, and they're well to do, and then these people who were robbed and pillaged and taken everything from them, their generations did not come up the same way. And today we have the nerve to say, oh, people got to pick themselves up by the bootstrap, or hey, if you just work hard enough, you could be like this person,
It's a lie.
But not everybody starts on the same playing field. So
no, you brag that you worked hard, but you were born at home.
Yeah,
you already hit a home run. Like it's not. They're not even born on third. Like the phrase is like, "Oh, I was born on third." You weren't born on third. You were born back at home.
Yeah.
So get out of my face.
Thanks. All right, time for some training camp.
Yes.
Speaking of not on the playing field,
Yeah.
if you're a first round pick, you're on the team. If you picked on day 3, you better make the most of that one rep you're gonna get.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it is. Like the lower pick you are, you have to really stand out, unless you're one of the ones that coaches like, or the ones that coaches feel like they got to steal on. But but this is where it happens. Sometimes you get those type of players that they shouldn't have been drafted that low. For whatever reason, they're drafted lower than they could have been, and they go out in training camp and really show what they can do. Do the Ravens have a player like that? I think the wide receiver from Colorado, LeJohntay
Webster.
Wester.
Yeah.
Wester.
Yeah, he
mistake.
could be. I think he could be one of those guys that, and the same thing for you, B. I think the other Colorado wide receiver. I mean, he already showed up minicamp. Yeah. He already showed up.
They asked him recently what his goals were for the season. He said he wants to top at least 250 yards. He wants to score a touchdown, and he wants to lock down the return job. So he's going in with his eyes open. He knows the situation.
Horn?
Yeah, and, he knows that it's kind of an uphill battle for him being a 6th round pick, and regardless of the issues that Xavier Leggett had, you're sitting behind a couple 1st round picks and a veteran in Adam Thielen, a veteran in Hunter Renfrow potentially. David Moore is there as well, so he knows it's kind of an uphill battle for him to make the team and get playing time. So he's got some realistic expectations for his rookie season. We saw flashes from one of their more celebrated picks, Princely Amumamelian. I don't know how to say it.
Amumamelian.
Princely.
Nope.
Okay, well, why don't you?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's Amumamelian, isn't it?
No, I'm with you. I can't say it at all, man. I'm not even gonna try.
It's Princely Amumamelian.
My word.
I got you.
That's
all right.
Third round pick, edge rusher, and made waves today because he got his hands on Bryce Young. And that is a massive no-no in training camp.
Oh yeah.
He ended the day, in fact, by getting a strip sack on Bryce. So he had some flashes today. He's looking pretty good. The real question marks for Carolina at this point, after the sudden release of Josie Jewell, is going to be who can step up in that linebacking core. They've got Trevin Wallace already, who they drafted in the 3rd round last year. He's a lock to be a starter. They signed Christian Roseboom, who had a great second half of the year with the Rams last year, but he's not a guy that you would normally expect to be a starter. I don't think they were counting on him to be a starter necessarily, but I think he's going to be kind of pushed into that role. And then it's just going to be, hey, let's go out here and compete and see who can step up at that position.
Josie Jules is actually, I think he was my defensive defensive MVP for you guys in our video, because he made a lot of key plays for you guys down the stretch. And those guys are important to have on the team.
Yeah, and very unfortunate for him. He's still suffering symptoms from a concussion that he got about 7 months ago, and decided that he wanted to kind of step away and take care of his health. Obviously, that comes before everything. So we wish Josie all the best. And if he does get healthy, they would be open to bringing him back if he's ready to come back and play.
And he's doing the right thing, because I don't think NFL players take enough time off from concussions. I didn't even think about that until you told me about the hockey player that missed a lot of time. Was it Crosby? Was it Sidney Crosby? He missed a lot.
But it turned out to not be concussions. Yeah. They thought it was concussions, but he had another issue going on, and once they figured that out, he never got another concussion. He never really got hurt again. He was able to play. But yeah, every time he got out there.
But they treat concussions differently in other sports.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah.
Hey, you good for next week? You have to sit out for a while and really make sure that you're over the concussions. It's not. Hey, he looks like Luke to me.
Yeah, thank you for that one, Ron.
That's what Ron Rivera said after Luke Kuechly suffered like his 5th concussion and didn't know who he was out there. But yes, Josie Jewell, take the time away, get yourself right. And who knows, man? Like, how long has he been playing football?
Josie,
he's 30. Is he 30?
I was gonna say, I think 7, 8 years, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
He's at the point.
But then count his 4 years in college. He was a 4-year starter at Iowa.
Well, I meant NFL. I'm sorry.
Okay, then 7. 7, yes.
That's my bad. But he's played long enough to collect a pension in the NFL. I think you got to do 5 years to get a pension. It might work out to where he takes the time off to heal. Once you take your time off, you take the time off. Other things that you didn't even know were ailing you heal up, and he might say, "Man, my body feels great. Why don't I want to go back to that train wreck? Let me just enjoy the money that I accumulated, enjoy my pension, and just ride off to the sunset." That could be a thing as well. It depends, but either way, man, I'm glad he's taking the time off to get himself right.
Yeah. So outside of that, from the first day, like you said, it's not a whole lot. Because it's one practice, but they say that Chuba Hubbard is he looks like he's lost a little bit of weight, looking lean and looking fast, and he's running really well today. But it's just about kind of getting into the groove of things, getting into the rhythm, and like I said, seeing who from this rookie class and free agents class, and even just from the team last year, is going to kind of up their game. They said that the feeling of hope around the team is palpable. A lot of the players are really buying in with Canales, and they believe they're going to be a good team this year. So, I agree. They got to hit the ground running, and we'll see.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, same thing over the Ravens. I don't have a lot of notes. I know there's a lot of confidence in that team. There's as it should be. It's listening to Roquan's interview, listening to Derrick Henry, it's strictly business, right? It's like, okay, we know how good we are. We don't need to listen to the hype. We know what it is. We need to go out there and take care of business, right? Roquan was saying how there's 20 guys on the defensive side that could be out there starting. He says one of the most talented defenses he's ever played with. And I believe him. Like I believe people.
I believe him too. He played in Chicago before he got there.
That Chicago team with Khalil Mack.
Yes,
that was pretty talented. That was a pretty talented team. Unfortunately, their kicker couldn't hit a field goal, and their QB was Mitchell Trubisky.
But it was the only talented team he played on. The rest of the season was trash.
Yeah. Then they got rid of everybody. Yeah, good point.
But Mark Andrews, went out there, talked about how he wants to redeem himself. He said that week 1 Bills game is going to be I forget the word he used, not redemption story, but It's gonna.
Rejuvenation.
He basically said he's gonna get a little payback in that game, and I believe that too. And that's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about postseason. But look, you go and play one game at a time, right? Start with week one, and I want him to go out there and play well. I want the team to go out there and play well. I want them to hit the ground running, right? I don't want one of these things where we're learning as we go along, and then we start to hit our stride down the stretch. Man, just keep it going the whole way, right? Um, Falele, you had Ronnie Stanley talk about Falele and how Falele used to this offseason he was waking up in the middle of the night in cold sweats, waking up in cold sweats. Said he didn't he wasn't happy with how he performed, and he put in the work to get better in the offseason, which I hope so. And I'm glad he's not sitting there thinking he did great, because he didn't.
I just want to say real quick, I know these guys have to talk to the media all the time, right? And you don't want to just repeat yourself ad nauseum and kind of sound like a robot and everything. You want to have things to say. But I never like it when guys just make stuff up like that. You weren't waking up in cold sweats, bro. It's like when Ron Rivera...
He didn't say they didn't wake up in cold sweats. He didn't say... I added that.
But it's like when Ron Rivera said that he woke up at 3 a.m. and had an epiphany that he had to fire Mike Shula. No, you didn't, bro. You've known for years that you needed to fire Mike Shula. Stop it. Just be honest.
It's like Ron Jaworski saying, "I've grinded 375 hours of tape." No, you haven't, Ron. What are you doing, Ron? Ron, stop it.
Right.
You had an epiphany.
Yeah.
That's you know why? Because these people, like, they always talk about, you don't understand what it's like to be an athlete. You don't understand this world, this and that, whatever, right? But they don't understand that regular people know all too well what it's like to be employed, unemployed, fired, hired. Like we know that we go through that more times than they do, right? And they don't understand that we can smell the BS. We can see the BS when they're doing it. That's why we laugh at them when they make these ridiculous comments, because we know way better than they know.
Yeah.
They think they're pulling a fast one over us. You're not pulling anything over us. Like we know what's going on, right? You don't perform well in that position, you get fired.
Exactly. I too woke up at 3 a.m. and had an epiphany and realized I need to get another job. See, is that easy? Yeah. You see that? Yeah.
So, Paris, what are you hearing from Giants camp, Paris?
Why you gotta do that, man? I didn't disrespect you at all when you were talking about.
It's not about you. It's not about you. But I'm looking at a team that drafted a quarterback in the first round, and then yesterday came out and said the 35-year-old is our definite starter.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the big news coming out. It looks like Jackson Dart has no shot of winning the job in camp because they've made it very clear that Russell. Yeah, Russell's the guy. Big news really is we've been searching for a cornerback too for the past 8 years. And the first round pick that we drafted is splitting reps with the 4th round pick we drafted 2 years before him with Cordell Flott. I think the Cordell Flott his case is very special because when we drafted him, he was the youngest player in the NFL, period. He was the youngest player in the NFL. He was a part of that DB contingent at LSU where they had Bo Pelini for that 1 year. And the DBs told Bo Pelini, "Nah, bruh, we don't do zone here. We run bump and run, man to man." And they mutinied against him. So he doesn't lack confidence. That's all I have to say. Those LSU DBs, they're very confident in their skills. And he has played very well in certain spots, but he's been bullied because he is not small like Emmanuel Forbes small, because he's taller than Emmanuel Forbes and he has room to grow, but he just needed to pack on more weight. Him and Deonte Banks are splitting the cornerback 2 reps because we know cornerback 1 is Paulson Adebo. We saw Evan Neal do some guard work. He split first team reps with, I believe, Greg Van Roten. And the biggest key is 7 of 15 pass attempts from Russell Wilson went to Malik Neighbors. So Marvin Harrison had 202 targets back in 2005. I think it's going to get broken. Russell's definitely going to get him there. Opening drive, Russell Wilson throws a deep ball touchdown to Wan'Dale Robinson. I think Wan'Dale Robinson is going to have a better year because a quarterback that isn't afraid to throw it more than 10 yards will be throwing him the ball. So there's that, but yeah, pretty much, Malik Neighbors is Malik Neighbors. Jackson Dart threw a pick 6, which it is what it is. He did then throw a touchdown to Theo Johnson under pressure, but it's been very clear that it's Jackson Dart, probably 2, and we're probably going to trade Jameis in season because Jameis Winston, why would he stay if you're not going to get a shot, period? Which I don't understand why Jameis even starting for this, but we must have lied to him or sold him a story that he enjoyed because
or you were
he had
the only
shot.
option at the time.
That
Hey,
too.
shout out to Suge in the chat. Shout out to Game Too Easy. Shout out to Matt D. Matt D says Ravens content overload. 4 channels I sub to are streaming right now. We're a little more than the Ravens channel though. Okay, there's Ravens, Panthers, and sports because we got a few sports stories to talk about. Okay.
Last story. Abdul Carter and Brian Burns were the first 2 defense edges out of the first defensive passing set. So Kayvon was actually the rotational piece, which makes sense because they haven't been really sold on Tibbs. Yeah, and Abdul Carter is a freak of nature.
Yeah, he should have been.
And shout out to Danity. Danity, this is very important. Just welcome everyone to the chat. Hit the like and subscribe button as you watch. Newsletter, LBHTShow.com. Thank you, Danity. Cash App, $LBHTShow. Yes, if you want to donate to the show, that's how you do it. Or hit that pin link that you see in the chat box. All right, both ways. You can leave a donation, leave a comment. You get a nice animation on the screen, and we read your comment on the screen. Somebody said in the chat, I can't remember who said it, but basically, it says Mark Andrews. Just how it says Mark Andrews can't redeem himself in regular season. I agree, and what I don't want to see. I mean, I want to see him play well. I want everybody on the team to play well. But if he has a monster year, right, 1,300 yards, 11, 12 touchdowns, people are going to be like, see, Mark Andrews is the man. Mark Andrews is the man. All the doubters, all the haters. Man, but can he do it in the playoffs? I just want him to do it.
I'll tell you what, no danger of that happening. So no worries.
What, having that kind of year again?
Yeah. Yeah, he's not really capable of it at this point. And he's going to be splitting reps with Isaiah Likely to some extent. So he's not going to. And they have actual receivers now.
Can I say something?
He's not going to be able to get enough volume to even make that happen.
Well, I want to point out that I told Ravens fans so Isaiah Likely is a damn good tight end, and a lot of you guys laughed at me. I just want to point that out. When I mean Ravens fans, I mean Jose, I mean Davon, I mean
Jose.
Yeah, you laughed at me, Jose. You laughed at me.
When did I?
You laughed at me.
Wow.
Pull up that tape.
When you guys, when you guys drafted him and Charlie Kolar and all the tight ends, I said, hey, that Isaiah Likely out of Coastal Carolina, he's good. I've watched him. He's good. And you're like, okay, Ferris, whatever. Guess what?
I said, okay, Ferris, whatever.
Guess
Whatever.
what,
Yeah,
Jose?
yeah.
He's a backup tight end now.
No.
I want to bet if I go and pull up that tape, if I go pull up the footage, it didn't go down that way. All right.
That's what I
It
remember.
might says, okay, Ferris, let somebody else talk. Right.
Wow.
That's
It
not.
might be-
Wow. Wow.
That's just hurtful. That's just hurtful.
Unnecessary shots.
Yes.
No, but not yeah. On Andrews, fool me once, shame on you. The fool can't get fooled again. That's what Jay said.
Well,
Yeah,
George
see,
Bush.
Urban doesn't believe you either, Ferris. I did not say that.
Hey, man. I know it wasn't Brodny because Brodny was like, I don't care.
Yeah. Whatever. You drafted
But yeah,
him.
Zay Flowers looked
Process of
healthy.
elimination.
So Zay Flowers looked healthy. He twisted an ankle or something like that. He came off the field for a couple of minutes and came right back, finished strong. That's what Justice Ray Big said. Hopkins looked good too, which I expect him to. Right? It's his age. How consistent is he going to be throughout the season? How much are they going to use him and whatnot? That's the question. But The main thing that I want to see is O-line improvement, and we won't know till really the regular season. But when we can start to look at in the preseason, O-line improvement in the defense. And speaking of defense, the other thing I want to talk about too is Marcus Williams. Right, Marcus Williams put out. Well, he was on a podcast. Teron Armstead, I believe, has a podcast. A lot of people got podcasts now.
Man, all these players got podcasts nowadays,
I
man.
ain't even mad at it. I'm not mad at it because you get these type of perspectives. They bring on their friends, athletes, former athletes, current athletes, or whatever. But Marcus Williams, who didn't say anything about being benched, and when he got released, never put out a statement or tweeted anything. He talked about it a little bit, and I can respect his response, man. Like, it didn't seem like he was bitter or anything, but he stood up for himself. He said, "Hey, everything that you saw out there wasn't 100% on me. Like, if I did something wrong, I can take responsibility for it, but I wish they would have told me what I did wrong." Now, that concerns me, right? Because, we're only hearing his side of the story. Sure, it could be more to it, but he seemed pretty genuine about it. You know what I'm saying? And if it's one of those things where he didn't know what he did wrong or wasn't communicated well, he said that when they benched him that 1 week, he said, okay, he wants to be out there, but fine. He a team player. He came back the next week, played well, and then they benched him again, and they didn't really communicate to him what the problem was. That's a Harbaugh thing, right? And also an EDC thing, because you're paying a man $70 million to be your starting safety. That's way too much money to just bench somebody just because. The man has been an excellent safety his whole career. He was playing well for the Ravens, even when he got hurt. Last year, he didn't play great, but the defense as a whole didn't play great. Okay? So it's more than just him. That's coaching. And if there's an issue with communication, issue with, something that he's doing, everybody needs to get on the same page. I feel like he's professional enough to correct those things. I just think Harbaugh struck again. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and you've never heard anything about Marcus Williams to indicate that he's been a problem in the locker room or a problem for coaching staffs before this. We have, however, seen this play out with the Ravens before. Hey, remember when Ben Cleveland didn't get a chance to touch the field at all, even though both of your guards sucked? And then we said, well, Ben Cleveland's definitely gone because they hate Ben Cleveland, and then they re-signed him.
Yeah,
like John Harbaugh does not communicate his issues well to players. Like it just seems like that's just what it is, right? Like he has a problem, I guess, talking to players, face to face, man to man, and saying, "Hey, I have a problem with you doing this with this behavior or whatever it is, and you need to correct it." Instead, he'll say, "Hey, well, he didn't play, and he knows what he needs to do." And sometimes they don't know what they need to do, right? And what else can you do besides just show up to practice and practice hard and go to the meetings and pay attention and all that? I think there's times when John just gets, he has a player on his bad side for whatever reason, and he won't vocalize it, and he won't, give them a chance to fix it, and it just festers. And that's not good for the team.
Also, what another thing that I think too, because I don't think it came from absolutely nothing, right? What it sounded like to me, just knowing Harbaugh for as many years as I've known him, okay, personally, what I think happened is over the course of however many weeks, some animosity started to fester up, right? Because the defense is looking bad out there. And Marcus Williams said it himself that, hey, some of those plays weren't on me. I'm not going to throw anybody under a bus because I'm not the type of person, but that wasn't me. And it might have been one of those things where it wasn't getting called out. It wasn't getting corrected. And he might have said something. In practice, in the meetings or whatever, or he might have taken some shots at Zach Orr, because Zach Orr, did he get it together towards the end of the season? Yeah. Do I think he's going to do a good job this year? Yeah. but first time defensive coordinator, young, he made mistakes. And coming from a year where they were one of the top defenses in the league, you have a bunch of talent. You're dealing with veterans. Some of them are older than Zach Orr. You're going to get a little frustrated, and those things happen. But Harbaugh can't handle any type of criticism, right, to him or his staff, and that's part of the job. Sometimes, tensions are going to flare. It's that type of sport, especially when things aren't going the way you want to go. But you have to be able to manage egos. You got to be able to kind of navigate through that stuff. And John Harbaugh's never been able to do that. His way of dealing with it is just get rid of that person. He's not a problem person. He might have been somebody that spoke up a little bit, but you address it, you correct it, and you move on. Now, instead of having somebody that we know can play, a veteran, good safety that could have still been on this team and performing for us, we had to go and spend another high first round pick. Well, not high, but another first round pick on a safety. Right. And then we got to hope that rookie could come in and play like a high level safety out the gate. We need him to do that. That's just poor. It's poor. That's a poor job from the coaching staff. It's a poor job from EDC, because EDC has to step in at some point and say, listen, I'm not giving you any more help over there. You're going to have to make this work. We're spending too much money on this for you to not like something that he said.
Yeah, because it goes down to like, so Marcus Williams probably was like, it was nothing and it was out of nowhere, because he's probably like, criticism is a part of football. It's coaching. We are collaborating. Jose, like you say, we're partners in this. You're not my boss. We're partners. And I'm saying something you're not doing well. You should fix it. So John's probably like, how dare you? Yeah. Don't talk about Zach Orr like that. And that just proves to me that you're not a good leader. And he isn't, because I always go back to the stories of your championship team, the year in 2012, where everyone on your championship team said, oh, the reason we changed the season is that we stopped listening to him. We took over the team. We did it. Us. Where they said us, not we, us. So then he's like, that's why he got rid of Marcus Williams and drafted Malachi Starks, because he has a rookie who's never been in the league, so he can mold that rookie to basically become a drone. Marcus Williams was in New Orleans. He wasn't a Raven guy. He was brought in. So the players they bring in are like, what are you doing? What is this? This is BS. We need to fix this. But the Ravens players they draft and mold them, don't say nothing. Kyle Hamilton, I'm not saying Kyle Hamilton doesn't have like a voice, but he probably does. But he knows the Ravens way. This is the way we do things. But Marcus Williams is like, I was in New Orleans. That's not how we do things. You know what I mean?
I don't even think that's the issue, because I think the year before, when Mike McDonald was there, Mike McDonald was there. There was no issues at all. They were playing well. Everybody understood their assignments, and they played really good defense. Mike McDonald leaves and Zach Orr takes over, and obviously there are some growing pains there. That's obvious. And I think that's frustrating for a team that was in the AFC Championship game the year prior. They're trying to get back there, and going through the season, the defense is not holding up. And for the most part, it just seems like a communication issue. Like they're not on the same page. That reflects on your first time coach.
Exactly. That's what I think, because when Mike McDonald left, Zach Orr gets promoted. He was your linebackers coach, correct?
Yes.
But then Anthony Wheeler then leaves and becomes a defensive coordinator in Miami. So the defensive staff gets gutted and then Denard Wilson left to go to Tennessee. So your DB coach, your linebackers coach, and your defensive line associate defensive head coach, those three guys under Mike McDonald worked. But then McDonald leaves to Seattle, and all three of them then leave. So then you have to replace your entire defensive staff. So of course there's miscommunication. So you shouldn't get mad at the players for saying what's going on here, because you lost 3 of your main coaches. All 3 of them became defensive coordinators. 2 of them left to 2 other teams. And your main defensive coordinator became the head coach in Seattle. So, of course, the players are like, I don't know what the hell we're doing. Because Zach Orr is younger than most of your defensive players, first-time defensive coordinator. He's rebuilding his staff because he wasn't going to keep Anthony Weaver. He wasn't going to keep Denard Wilson. They want to be defensive coordinators. They were up for the Ravens defensive coordinator jobs. And you know what? They got those shot. Weaver goes to Miami. Denard goes to Tennessee. That's what happened.
Daniel Franklin in chat says they were zone-based under McDonald or wanted them to be man-based. That's why Steven struggled. I don't know. I mean, that's a coach thing. Coach will have to break down and tell me exactly how much they played in man and how much they played zone. I'm not saying I don't believe you, Daniel Franklin. I don't know is what I'm saying. I didn't break down the plays like that. I don't do that. But if that is the case, Daniel, I could absolutely see why there'd be an issue, right?
That's
because
it's an experience thing as well, right? Because hey, this is the personnel we have. They played very well, under this system last year. I'm gonna change it because I'm the man now.
That's not
right.
No,
right.
No, just
and shout out to our guy AD in the chat, man. Press start 410 says, "What's up, y'all? First time off before
NFL,
9 minutes. Yeah.
In the NFL, the scheme is the players. You scheme up with the players you get, right? That's why Bill Belichick's the greatest coach of all time. Their defense, whatever player he had, he schemed it. It was new schemes every week. Oh, I have Dante Hightower. I have Cassius Marsh. Cassius Marsh really is not a very good run stopper. He knows how to sack the quarterback, so I can't really use him in this case. Oh, Trey Flowers, he can't really do that. Oh, let me put him here. You go to your players. Your scheme doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like everyone thought the Wildcat was going to take over the NFL. Guess what happened the next year? The NFL stopped it because the scheme is not the scheme. Like the scheme is nice, but if you ain't got the Jimmies and the Joes, it means nothing, right? It means nothing because Cincinnati had the Jimmies and the Joes in the 80s with Ken Anderson and Bill Walsh. Guess what happened? They won nothing. And then Bill Walsh went to San Francisco. And guess what happened? Scheme was nice for Bill Walsh. Scheming up, that's wonderful. But of course the scheme worked when he had Joe Montana and Jerry Rice running around. Or Roger Craig and Dallas Clark. Wrong. Dwight Clark, sorry. That Dallas is another person.
Yes, he is.
The Jimmies and the Joes, So the Jimmies and the Joes is what's his key. You can't that's an indictment on Zach Orr. You know the players can play under this scheme very well. And you have the exact same players. No one left. Why are you changing the scheme? Why?
Yeah, and I always talk about that's kind of the sign of good coaches versus coaches who kind of just came up in it and learned a certain way, right? Like you have to adapt to the personnel that you have. Good coaches do that. Bad coaches say, this is my scheme, this is what we're running, and that's just what it's going to be. We did get a super chat here from Adrian. He says, let me bring that up here. Thank you very much. He says, Dart or Russ, Ferris?
Well, it's Russ. They've made it very clear. It's going to be Russ. He's going to be the QB. He's only here for a year, so we'll see. Could we do I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, so watch it. Could they do the Patrick Mahomes thing where they're like, you're not playing at all this year? That's literally what
that's the responsible move. If you have somebody that you believe in, needs time to develop, you let him sit.
Yeah. Because I remember, when they drafted Patrick Mahomes, and I was like, you guys have Alex Smith, that's weird. I'm like, oh, they're gonna get rid of Alex Smith after this year. And they did. And then boom, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Right? They needed him to marinate. I'm not saying Jackson Arch Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying that. But don't be fooled.
But anybody any quarterback that
Jordan
you
Love
believe in needs a little time to do. Yeah.
Jordan Love marinated for a year.
Aaron Rodgers before that.
Aaron Rodgers. Don't be fooled, guys. The people who said that they've predicted Patrick Mahomes' success, they're liars. They're liars. Because no one was saying this about Patrick Mahomes during the draft season. There wasn't. They're all liars. They literally were saying well, probably because of Matt. Yeah, shout out to you, Matt Wallman. But most of the media people, all those people, they're all liars because they literally said Patrick Mahomes is the boomer bust pick. Either he's going to be successful or he's going to be a bust. It's kind of 50-50. We don't know. So don't believe the people saying that they
I think there's
predicted.
way more benefit of sitting your quarterbacks for at least a year.
Yeah.
Than just throwing them out there. Right. I mean, some are ready.
It depends on the player. But just you heard it here first. Ferris thinks Jackson Dart is Pat Mahomes. So leave your comment about that. Let him know just how wrong he is on that front.
That's not what I said.
That's exactly what you said. We have it on film. But we do need to get moving here.
Yes. What public opinion?
We can jump into that if you want. So if you don't know, if you haven't seen it, Cam Newton and Ryan Clark, we're going back and forth a bit. We have a couple videos here, so we're going to play this first from Ryan Clark and then right into the Cam Newton video.
Before you play, I just want to give a little background on this video, right? Because this stemmed from, it really started from ESPN. ESPN put out this list of their top 10 quarterbacks, right? And they had, I can't remember, they had Lamar 4th or whatever, but they had Jalen Hurts 9th, I believe. Cam Newton came out with his list. I'm not sure if he came out with the whole list, but I think he just talked about Jalen Hurts and said he didn't have Jalen Hurts on his top 10, which I don't know why you would single out Jalen Hurts. But
I think he did put out a list, I think, and he just didn't have him in the top 10.
Okay, but he did take time to talk about why he didn't have Jalen Hurts in the top 10. He said, look, good quarterback, obviously. Didn't enough to win a Super Bowl, and really that's all you need. But he just basically said, hey man, like you have everything around you, you're not the reason that they win necessarily.
I have the list.
Give
you the list.
But Cam's list?
I have Cam's list. You want me to give you the list?
Sure.
All right, so starting at 10 was Baker Mayfield. Justin Herbert's 9.
You can stop right there. You can take Baker Mayfield off of that list and put Jalen Hurts right there. But go ahead.
Justin Herbert is 9. CJ Stroud is 8.
Off.
CJ Stroud is 8.
Okay.
Jaden Daniels is 7. Jared Goff is 6. Matthew Stafford is 5. And then the top 4 that's never gonna change, but depending on your order, it's Joe Burrow at 4, Mahomes at 3. That's just, this list makes no sense. And then Lamar Jackson at 2, and Josh Allen at 1. I'm sorry, Patrick Mahomes is 1. And then we can debate. I'm sorry, that's just me.
We actually talked about this last week. Like, if anybody put it's funny that it played out this way. Didn't we say this? We said if anybody put Pat Mahomes outside of 1 or 2, right?
This makes no sense.
That should be everybody should be all up in arms about that. But that still wouldn't be the talking point. And this is this is a perfect example because Pat Mahomes is not 1, he's not 2, but we're talking about Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
the disrespect.
I'm sorry. We've been watching Patrick Mahomes for like 6 years, and you got him 3. Josh Allen can't beat him. Why is Josh Allen above him?
But because Josh Allen doesn't play Pat Mahomes.
Okay, I know. That's a good point.
And Ryan Clark was talking about that. And how he went to the Super Bowl, he outplayed Pat Mahomes. He didn't play against Pat Mahomes. He played against the Chiefs defense, and Pat Mahomes had to go against the Eagles defense with no O-line.
But anyway, so obviously we don't agree with Cam Newton's list, right? But that's just a list like anybody else puts out a list. Ryan Clark took issue with it and started taking shots at Cam personally, and then this is where we put just a small, I edited it for time. It's just quick clips from each of them making some comments about each other, and that's what he's gonna play now.
Well, I didn't have I just put 2 videos. I didn't see you posting the videos that you made, but I've got just a couple of clips.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Clark,
yeah. Okay.
And then one from Cam.
Okay.
Now, here is what I think. If you don't want to count Jalen Hurts in your top 10, I have one question. Who's in the top 10? And how do you get there? And the last thing is this, right? Cam Newton is using excuses to not put Jalen Hurts in the top 10. Excuses are tools of incompetence that build monuments of nothingness, and those who major in their usage are non-achievers. The ring that Jalen Hurts is walking around with says top 10 to me. Tell Cam to show you his.
That we want to attack the messenger, Ryan Clark. Okay, let's pull up your stats. Second team All SEC, we cannot relate. Undrafted in 2002, we cannot relate. Then you have one Pro Bowl in 2011, we cannot relate. So if you want to unlock Petty Cam, and everything that Cam Newton has ever said on this 4th and 1 show has always been backed by merit and logic, but some way, shape, form, people keep attacking Cam the person, or why he didn't jump on the fumble, why he didn't do this, or comparing and contrasting. So when I compare and contrast you guys' statistics and Dan Orlovsky, never mind. But as we keep going and we keep unlocking and keep poking the bear, and y'all want to play this game, I can.
Yeah, it kind of cuts off at the end there, but that's the gist of it. The thing is, you know, and I see Cam, Killer Cam in the chat saying Cam got super sensitive.
So I want to add something, B. Mm-hmm. I want to add, because there's.
I want that jacket though.
Before Ryan Clark said that, he also threw another shot. Said that Cam showed up to the Super Bowl, but forgot his cape.
Yeah,
and that's
the thing. It's not Cam being sensitive. It's why are you taking shots at Cam personally, right?
That's
talk
about the list.
Right.
Talk about
if
the list.
If you want to disagree about the list, disagree about the list. But if you want to make it about you as players, then yeah, he was a much better player than you. So that's where it's
I heard I heard him talk about Jalen Hurts, and he was respectful. He didn't say anything disrespectful about Jalen Hurts. He said how much he liked Jalen Hurts. He just said, "Look, I'm just giving you my opinion on the list." You know,
hold on, Kill Cam. What are you even talking about? What's everyone else's fault but Cam? It's never his fault. What are you talking about? He didn't blame anybody for anything. He's just saying that don't make it about him.
Make it about the list.
Because he's taking shots at Jalen. He's not taking shots at Jalen. He's just saying that he doesn't think he's a top 10 quarterback in the league. That's not taking shots at him.
And let's not forget, Jalen Hurts is 9th on the ESPN list. He wasn't that far from being out of that list either, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you don't see Ryan Clark taking shots at anybody else for that list. He ain't out there throwing shots at anybody. It's just a list. They do these things to spark controversy. They do these things to get clicks. It's just a list. Cam Newton put out his own list. You can disagree with it, but why are you taking personal shots at him?
And my thing is, I think that Ryan Clark destroyed his own argument. I didn't have it wasn't in this clip. It was a little bit before this, where he talked about Eli Manning and how Eli Manning was going to the Hall of Fame because Eli Manning had 2 Super Bowl rings. And yeah, he was never a great quarterback, blah blah blah. But he's going to the Super Bowl. Why? Because he won the Super Bowl. Or he's going to the Hall of Fame. Why? Because he won the Super Bowl. And that's the entire thing. Is he's talking about the player's ability, right? Eli Manning was not a great quarterback. Don't whoa nothing. You know he wasn't a great quarterback.
He was a good quarterback.
I said he wasn't a great quarterback. And
you got people like, time out.
No, time out what? He wasn't a great quarterback.
Look at the QBs in the Hall of Fame.
He's not a great quarterback, Ferris. Say he's a great quarterback right now.
He's a great quarterback. He's better than Troy Aikman. He's better than Steve Young.
No. Don't tell me who he's better.
Don't throw the qualifiers in front of that. Was he a great quarterback or not?
He's nowhere near the player Steve Young was. But whether or not,
and more yards.
Everyone has more passing touchdowns now, Ferris. And by the way, if you want to talk about passing touchdowns, you know that Jalen Hurts' career high in passing touchdowns is 23. Is he a great quarterback?
I think it's pretty good. I think he's in top 10.
I'm saying, do you think he's a great quarterback with those numbers? That's his point. He's surrounded by great talent. He has one of the best O-lines in the league. He has the best running back in the league. He's got one of the best wide receiver rooms in the league. They've got one of the best defenses in the league. He's
got a lot.
It's not. He's not playing poorly or anything. But his point is that, hey, when you have that much around you, it's easier to play your game and win,
hey,
right? Now,
my point about Eli Manning.
My point about Eli is he wasn't a great quarterback. He was a career 500 quarterback. He got hot on two separate playoff runs, and they won the Super Bowl, and that's great. That doesn't
Yes.
mean he was the top quarterback in the league. It doesn't mean he was a top 5 quarterback in the league. It doesn't mean he was a top 10 quarterback in the league. It means him and his team got hot at the right time, right?
For the record,
you know who
Eli
else
Manning
has a, you
still
know who else
owns
has
the
a,
most
a
passing
Super
yards in a
Bowl?
single postseason.
You know who else
Point
has
that
a
out.
Super Bowl ring? Trent Dilfer has one, right?
And Brad
Joe
Johnson.
Flacco has one. Brad Johnson has one. Nick Foles had one with that same Eagles team. Was Nick Foles a top 10 quarterback?
MVP. He was MVP of the
Was
Super
Nick
Bowl.
Foles the top 10 quarterback in the league when he won with the Eagles?
No.
No, he wasn't. Was he? He wasn't. and that's what player. And you see this a lot of time with great players versus players who weren't necessarily great. Is that the ones
teams.
who weren't great say it's
Yes.
about the team, right? It's team success. It's about winning that Super Bowl. And great players are like, no, man, I'm better than you. Like I was in a worse situation. I was in a worse situation, but I am that guy. That's why LaDainian Tomlinson was out there saying he'd rather have that Hall of Fame jacket than a Super Bowl ring. Because that Hall of Fame jacket means that
Proved
you
I'm better
were
than
a
you.
great player. A Super
Yeah.
Bowl ring means that you were on the best team in the league that particular year. It
Timmy
doesn't even
Smith.
mean that you contributed.
Yeah, Timmy Smith has a Super Bowl. LaDainian Thompson doesn't. Do y'all know who Timmy Smith is?
Yeah.
Well, of course we know who Timmy. We know who Timmy Smith is, but most people don't know who Timmy Smith is. He was a part of the second trio of QB running backs that Washington they won. That's how I know Joe Gibbs is a great coach. When we talk about a great coach, Joe Gibbs, I hate the Washington football team, where he won the Super Bowl with 3 different QBs and 3 different running backs. Timmy Smith was the second QB, so that's what it is. Like, no, exactly, because you know what a player in the NFL that completely destroys the rings matter for QB's conversation, that just destroys it. Dan Marino. How many QBs are better than Dan Marino?
Not many.
Not many.
But people.
How many of them have rings that are better?
But people will never put them on the list because, and this is something that's we talked about before, and people mentioned that's infected basketball discussion is the ring culture.
Yep. Exactly.
Dan Marino threw for 5,000 yards in his second season in 1984 when you couldn't throw for more than 2,500 in the NFL. Like
exactly.
he destroyed the
It's
league.
hard to throw 5,000 now.
Yeah. He was one of
They
the
were
he was one of
breaking.
the greatest.
They're finally
ever.
breaking his records.
Yeah.
They were finally breaking his records back in the mid
But
20
the Miami Dolphins' incompetence makes him less of a player.
Exactly.
Let me read this from Adrian real quick. He says Hurts isn't asked to carry his team. To be fair, no way of knowing he could until the roster loses a bunch of pieces. Shout out to Howie Roseman. But that was Cam's point. And again, if you go back and watch that video, Cam was pretty much saying like this isn't a knock on Jalen Hurts. He's just saying like he's got a lot of talent and that's great. They gave him a lot of support. And you're doing what you're supposed to do, which is win Super Bowls. So there's nothing wrong with the equation there. There's nothing wrong. Nothing needs to be changed. Philly fans don't need to be mad at anything. You're at the top of the hill. Doesn't matter what anybody says. You're the champion. You have a quarterback that got you there.
It works. It works
but
for you.
Where I disagree is some of the other players that he had on the list. Same thing. Goff has had nothing but talent around him since he's come into the league.
He's done nothing.
Right? Baker Mayfield has nothing but talent around him in Tampa Bay.
But it's true.
Well, finally,
but
he finally has.
They've got better talent than Philly.
Way better.
Yeah.
But I think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree 100%. But the point is, because if you want to go down this road,
Justin Herbert's had talent
then
in Los
Jalen
Angeles.
Hurts should be number 1 on your list. He won last year. He beat Pat Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
So, so how are you putting anybody else above him, right? How are
Right,
you
that's why
putting
I'm
Josh
looking at
Allen
that
anywhere on the list with no rings? How are you putting Joe Burrow anywhere on your list with no rings? Because people like to take that ring and they use it to beat on players they don't like, right? But when it comes to players that they do like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's why I want to know why aren't you taking shots? Why aren't you taking shots at everybody that put together that ESPN list, the GMs, coaches, or whatever? Why aren't you taking shots at anybody? Because Hurts was 9th on that list.
Mm-hmm. Also,
right?
too, man, the football has kept ring culture discussions at bay for a long time. Like when we talk football, rings are they matter in certain they matter, but. People say Jerry Rice is probably the greatest player of all time, or Lawrence Taylor. But Tom Brady has 7 rings. But the greatest football player is either probably one of those two guys, depending on who you ask. This is the ultimate team sport. We literally call it the ultimate team sport. Rings are a team accomplishment. You have to take the individual out of that context. Jalen Hurts, I think Jalen Hurts is better than some of these QBs he has. And here's the thing too, Jose, we're not even saying put Jalen Hurts at 5. We're saying put him at 8 or 9. We're not even saying he should be in the right away. I said Baker, I said Justin Herbert, and you said no, get that out of here. Put him in right there. But then I kept going on the list. I kept going up, and you didn't say keep moving him up. So no, he's right there.
DJ says Hurts' decision making is so good, he's guaranteed to get you a playoff win in the NFC regardless of the talent around him. He's been to the playoffs twice and lost in his first game twice. Been to the playoffs and lost in his first game twice out of his 4 years. So no, he's not guaranteed to get you anything. And neither is any quarterback in the league.
No, yeah,
Jalen Hurts. No, but Jalen Hurts has made it to the Super Bowl 2 times.
He's made it to the playoffs 4 times. 2 of those times they were 0-1.
Was that okay? Was that 2021 and 2023?
Yeah.
Okay, then gotcha. Perfect. Yeah.
And you know what happened after they lost? The GM, who's number 1 on all or 2 on all the GM list, he re-upped every time they lost and said, "All right, man, tell them we back up, right?"
No, exactly, Jose. Exactly, Jose. So like before they won the Super Bowl this past year, the previous year, everyone kept saying their DBs stink. They need new DBs. And guess what they did? They draft 2 of the best DBs in the draft, Cooper DeJean and Kenyon Mitchell. And guess they start both men. And guess what happened this year? They had one of the best DBs in DB cores, and then they brought back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. They brought him back for a year to give him that little edge. He's a little crazy.
Depending on
how
that Smalley neighbor situation pans out.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, he brought a little edge. So they relegated Darius Slay to DB3. He's your DB3. Yes, I know he's lost a step, but he's your DB3. That's a pretty good thing. And then Cooper DeJean was your DB2. Now, you know what I mean? So like he realized the problem and he fixed it. He drafted Jalen Reagor. He realized I should have drafted Justin. Yeah, he realized I should have drafted Justin Jefferson. I messed up. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to give you A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Oh, we need a better running back. I'm going to steal Saquon Barkley.
Killer Cam says Howie Roseman is clear number 1 GM. It's a wide gap. So you're just going to erase everything that the Chiefs have been doing for the last 7 years?
Brett Veach knows what he's doing as well.
I mean, like, come on, man. Like, it's this
but
recency bias.
But you know why he's clearly the number 1? Because you know in your heart that Jalen isn't that guy, and Pat Mahomes is. That's why Howie Roseman is number 1, and he's done it without Jalen as well. So
yeah, he won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles and Alshon Jeffrey.
Wait, wide gap? No,
I think
him and Brett are pretty close. Because Brett did the same thing.
3 Super Bowl
winning teams.
3 Super Bowl winning teams. He's been to 5. Yeah. It's clearly Brett.
Yeah,
it's clearly Brett.
And two of the times,
because we're used to seeing them there, we don't appreciate what they're doing.
Also, in 2 of the times that they lost the Super Bowl, it was clearly that one of their offensive linemen got injured, and they need more depth on their front. Or 6. Yeah, against Tampa.
And honestly, I don't want to get anybody in trouble here, but I wouldn't put it past Tom Brady to put hits out on all those old linemen before that game. I'm not saying he did it. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm saying I would not put it past him.
No, because like I can, Jose, you're saying Jalen's probably 9 or 10, and I don't know. I can't
Wait, hold on. I didn't say he was 9 or 10.
Okay, well, I can. Okay, good point. You literally said that, but sure. But all right, fine.
No,
I literally said Jared Goff.
I said you could take Baker Mayfield off the list because he started at 10. Then you started going up. Then I was like,
Justin.
Okay, take off Justin. But then you kept reading the list. I didn't want to keep stopping you. I just wanted you to, okay. I have to look at it. I have Hurts pretty high.
Jared Goff at 6.
The thing about Jared Goff is for me, Jared Goff is in the same boat as Jalen Hurts, where we don't really know how good he is. I know he sucked with the Rams, until Sean McVay
Yes.
showed up, right? And then he gets to Detroit, and he's got Ben Johnson, and he's got Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's got Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's got Jamison Williams, he's got Hawkinson,
David
and
Montgomery.
then David Montgomery, and
Sam
I
Laporta.
forget now Sam Laporta. So he's
That
got a
offensive
ton
line.
of talent around him. I think we'll get a better idea this season with Ben Johnson gone, but he's played very well. He's put up great numbers. But again, so is Justin Herbert. Like you can look at Justin Herbert and say he's put up much better numbers than Jalen Hurts has. Much better.
Yeah.
Right? And he's on a worse team. And yeah, they go to the playoffs and he hasn't had the same success, obviously. He threw more interceptions in one game than he had in the entire season. But combined. So it's difficult to gauge because the quarterback position depends on everybody else on the field. That's why guys who have less talent around them get more credit. When you can see that Lamar doesn't have a great O-line and he doesn't have great wide receivers, right? Then you know that it's Lamar doing it. Right, when the guy is back there throwing it to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard and has a great O-line in front of him and Saquon behind him,
By the way,
it's harder to parse.
By the way, because that's the argument that Ryan Clark is making, like, all the things that he's accomplished and whatnot, right? And he's taking this talent and they're winning Super Bowls, but he won't make the argument for Lamar Jackson working with much less, But he'll hate on Lamar. He'll hate on Lamar Jackson for not getting to the Super Bowl, while acknowledging he doesn't have all those things that everybody else has. That's why I don't like Ryan Clark, because Ryan Clark is a low key hater. Ryan Clark.
Oh no, he's not low key whatsoever.
Well, okay, yeah, you're right.
There's
He's
no
high
low
key
key about
hater.
it. The man's a hater.
Because I've seen, because you can find clips of him glazing Cam Newton, right? Talking about all these great things about Cam Newton, but then the same breath turn around and take shots at him, right?
And
so what do you really think of him?
Killer Can says, I don't think CJ is proven enough to be top 10. He says he only had one good year. And that applies to Jaden Daniels too. We're doing the exact same thing with Jaden Daniels.
Yes,
and to be fair, and this is my point, we're doing kind of the same thing with Jalen Hurts right now, right? Where he's had a really good year. He's had good years. Like I said, his career high in passing touchdowns was 23, and that year he had 15 interceptions. Right,
yeah.
Like his best year was probably, I don't know, he had 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So he hasn't had a great season stats wise. Just passing the ball. Obviously, he has a lot of rushing yards and rushing touchdowns to go along with it. But my point is that we're saying, hey, we watched them go through that NFC, which was pretty deep. It was pretty good. And then you go to the Super Bowl and you dominate against Kansas City, and all of a sudden it's Jalen Hurts is the best. You can't say anything about Jalen Hurts. We do this every year. Anytime somebody new comes on the scene, like Jaden Daniels, we're talking about him as one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He had a good season. They got farther than you would have thought. And so he's the greatest thing ever. But we did that exact same thing with CJ Stroud a couple years ago. Came back the next season. And I don't want to say he fell on his face, but he wasn't nearly as good. The team wasn't nearly as good as you expected it to be.
Yeah, the O-line was decimated in Houston. And here's the thing too, like speaking of Jared Goff, he had a chance to prove to us that he could carry a team. Last year against Washington, your defense is completely shot. Your offense is fully healthy, but your defense couldn't stop nobody. This is your time to prove to people to help your defense out. And you threw 2 interceptions that sealed the game for Washington. That was your fault. You threw those picks.
Meanwhile, Philly handled their business against Washington.
Took them out. And funny thing too is they almost lost to LA the previous week because LA with Matt Stafford had a chance to beat, Philly. But then Matthew Stafford became Matthew Stafford towards the end and cost them the game. You know what I mean? So like you had a chance, Jared, to show people that, not everything's perfect with Detroit right now, but I can still win. And you threw 2 costly interceptions. One was returned for a pick 6. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. This is the ultimate team sport, right? No one, like, why do you think people say Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time? It's because the man was throwing to Chris Hogan in winning Super Bowls. The man was throwing to Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman in winning Super Bowls, right? Not everybody can do that.
And Gronk.
And well, Gronk, yes.
But yeah, I mean, I mean that's
But
that's
no, for one Gronk, you know,
kind
like
of
you got one Gronk
kind
in
of
the.
important.
Well, you know, the most QBs who've won Super Bowls, they have more than just Gronk. But you know, man had Gronk and a bunch of outcasts. To be quite honest with you, it's still pretty impressive. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I'm just
so
saying, man.
he was top 2 in MVP voting. Hey, you know who else was? Dak Prescott. He doesn't get that kind of respect.
Nope.
And he's been doing it
Nope, he
longer
wasn't.
and better
Not-
than
not-
Jalen Hurts.
Not even from Jerry Jones. You see the shot Jerry Jones threw at him?
Not at all.
Unnecessarily.
Him and Micah. We'll talk about it on Good Friends Better Rivals this Friday.
Jerry Jones is
7
a
o'clock.
devil, by the way.
No, he is. But also too.
I mean, what a jerk. What a
bro.
jerk.
Kimbrel Tompkins was number 1 on every sleeper list that offseason going for fantasy football going into that year. It was insane.
And then guess what happened? He disappeared and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. Listen. Wrap this up because we got to get into WNBA talk.
We're big fans of Jalen Hurts. I think all three of us are big fans of Jalen Hurts, but we know he's not better than the top 4. He's just not.
Right. He's
You know
just
what I mean?
he's
He's just
in
not.
that second group, and you can rank them any way you want, honestly.
To wrap
The second group-
to wrap this up, we're like for this to go as far as it did over a QB list, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand somebody that you respect and you're friendly with, you're cool with. Like, they know each other. They've been on each other's shows a few times. They work together. You know, maybe they're not friends. I don't know. I assume that they're cool. But for this to go to happen over a list, right? And it had nothing to do with Ryan Clark whatsoever. He inserted himself into it. I do not like Ryan Clark, man. Like there's something about him, man.
Yeah.
Like
Unless he called up Cam and said, "Hey, I'm going to go at you over your list. You come back at me, and then
maybe
this weekend we'll sit back and laugh at all the clicks and the views and everything."
Maybe. Yeah.
For the
you might be
record,
right.
I was on the I'm not a big fan of Ryan Clark train first. I just want to point that out. I was point that out.
Fans, you're on
Point that
that
out.
train for everyone.
The reason I want to point it out is Jose yelled at me for being a hater. But now look where Jose is.
Why
right now.
don't you tell everybody what you really think about Philadelphia Eagle quarterback Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
No,
What do you think?
I think he's a good QB. I really do think he's a good QB. I've started to realize the passing touchdown stat is
No,
it's situational, Brodny.
No,
touchdowns
Faz.
are situational.
I'm asking you what
touchdowns
you
are
think.
situational.
I'm asking you what you think about the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback.
Yeah. Great quarterback, great organization.
Because
Well run.
when I asked
Best
you
in the NFC
about
East.
NFL legend Randall Cunningham, who meant a lot to me personally, your response
I've never
was,
slandered
"F that
Randall
guy."
Cunningham. I've never slandered.
He played for
I've
the
never
Eagles.
slandered Randall. I've
Yes,
never
you have.
slandered Randall.
Yes, you have.
I have.
It was
I
F
may
that
have.
guy. He's played for the Eagles.
Well, you
So
know what?
I want to hear
Jalen
about
Hurts
Jalen
cost me
Hurts. All
a
right.
fantasy championship. So Jalen Hurts can suck it. All right, him and that organization.
All right,
I hate
listen.
everything about him. All right, you want me to admit it? I do. I hate everything about the guy.
We don't want this to go 2 hours. Like,
Look at me,
I
I'm
want to spend a
Jalen
little
Hurts.
time.
I have a Super Bowl. I'm married to a beautiful woman, and I got a big contract.
And I kind of look like Shamar Moore.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with this?
All right, listen. We have a labor dispute in the WNBA. All right. Ferris, can you just kind of quickly break that? Yeah, quickly break down what the dispute is over, and then I want to kind of touch on a comment, a couple of comments that people have been making in the media about it. But go ahead and break it down for everybody. What's going on in the WNBA?
The CBA is about to expire. Last week actually was All-Star Weekend for the WNBA. It was in Indianapolis. They were actually having meetings All-Star week long. They had one initial one, and then they had another one the following day. It wasn't fruitful whatsoever. They asked, let's just say this, man. This is the only league on planet Earth where the players in the media and they will go after the commissioner. Like I don't see, NBA players go after Adam Silver like that. I don't see NFL players go after Roger Goodell like that. The WNBA players, they don't play. They don't play about their money because there isn't a lot of money being given to them because that's why they're mad. Because they realize that Only 9.3% of total revenue for the WNBA goes to the players. I got some stats here. Compared to the other major leagues, the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL, it's basically half. It's basically half. The NHL gets 50%. The NBA players get about 49 to 51%, and the NFL gets at least 48.8%. That's what it is. So 9% goes to the players, and I'm talking about jersey sales. I'm talking about TV revenue. I'm talking about all of that, right? Players aren't getting their own jersey sales. The big Caitlin Clark contingent saying about she's worth a lot of money. She's not getting that money. All the Caitlin Clark jerseys you're buying, all the Angel Reese jerseys you're buying, the Nafisas, the Brianna Stewarts that you're supporting these players, they're not getting it. They're not getting it. They are making money. It's just that the WNBA is not helping them in that process because let's talk about it, man. Their new media deal that they signed last year is going to be for next year. It's going to start next year. So it's 11 years, $2.2 billion a year, 200 million a year. I did some research. I saw that they did an extension in 2013.
200 million per team.
200 million.
For the league.
For the league.
Per
the league
year for the
million. For the league. Yes, for the league. But Jose and Brodny, they also renegotiated their Ion deal. Ion also has Friday night basketball. Their renegotiating is rumored to be 60 million. So they're getting an extra 60 million on top of the 2.2 they're getting from ESPN, Amazon, and NBC. So they're adding an extra 60 million, which bumps it up to 3 billion overall. Their last media deal extension that I looked up, it was 2013. They added a six-year deal, extension 2013. It was 13 million a year. So they were getting 72 million overall. 72 million overall back in the day. And I think now they were about, I think, 80 to 100 million total. Next year, they're getting 200 million per year. Mm-hmm. It went from 100 million total to 200 million per year. So that number that people keep throwing out, they lost 40 million. They lost 40 million. Doesn't matter anymore next year when they get $200 million. So now they're in the plus 160.
So I didn't clip this. I should have clipped this part. Rob Parker on his radio show was talking about it, and I mean his host agreed that the ladies should be making more. But Rob Parker was just against it. He was just like, hey, I dare the women to hold out. I double dare them to hold out. The league doesn't make any money, and you can't ask for money when there's nobody's making any money. You can't ask for more money, and the league is struggling. And he went on his rant about how when he was in Detroit, I guess he covered Detroit sports, and but the Pistons were talking about how they didn't want the team there, and he was like they were begging the league not to put a team there and all that stuff, which is a lie. And he swears up and down that that's what it was. Like, just think about it for a second. Why would an owner be forced to take on a WNBA team? They're not forced to take on any team. You can't make them take on any other team, right? It would have to be, hey, yes, give us a team here. We can support it. If they say no, we don't want to do it, you can't force them to do it. You know what I'm saying? Here's
the thing too. Rob Parker is a lying sack of shit because my apologies is a liar because the Detroit Shock, 3-time WNBA champions, by the way, were top 5 in attendance their entire existence. Also, too, they have the highest attended WNBA game ever with 26,000 people. So Rob Parker is just lying right there. Well, Detroit showed up. Detroit showed up. They went to games. They supported them. It was a good team. Bill Laimbeer was their coach and GM, legendary player in Detroit. They won and it mattered. You cannot complain. Here's the thing that pisses me off, right? Jose, if you invest in something $1,000, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I invest in the same thing at $100. You should get more. You should yield more for your return than my $100, correct? Because you have 1,000. You've yielded $1,000. You cannot compare these two products when you're not investing the same amount of money. If they were investing the same amount of money in both products and one product is failing, then we can say the WNBA is failing. But you're not. when games weren't being aired, when finals games were being buried on random Sundays and random times. You know peak viewership. You know that. And David Sampson, like him or not, a lot of people don't like him. Former managing partner of the Miami Marlins, he said
he gives some good insight, but yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
really like him.
the one thing I really agree with him is that like the owners didn't care about the ratings. They're like, oh, the ratings are the ratings. It's whatever. It's ad revenue and ad space is what we care about. Can we sell ad revenue and ad space? Yes, you can. Yeah. Yes, you can. It's live sports. Yes, you can. You can do that.
And, so hold on. So before you go further on that, right? And if anybody in the chat, has a different opinion, if you buy into the narrative that, hey, this league can't support, higher salary for the players, and they should be thankful for what they get. I mean, let us know. But this whole talk about them not making money, Jamel Hill made a point about this on the Dan Le Batard show, right? Mm-hmm. You get this reporting from the NBA. They're the ones that out there saying, hey, they lost $40 million last year. And like you said, this is before the new TV money comes in. But the NBA always does this before a lockout. Each time they had a lockout, they cried poverty. They said, hey, well, we can't pay the players anymore. We don't have any money. And then the lockout happens and they negotiate, and all of a sudden they have money again to pay the players. Miraculously. Right? It's the same thing going on in WNBA. There's a reason why they're expanding the league. There's a reason why, and this is before Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese came into the league, right? Because people want to say, oh, the only reason it's thriving now is because of Caitlin Clark. It was already generating revenue, right? It was already becoming more lucrative for investors. People were already investing money into the league before Caitlin Clark and Reese came into the league, right? So it was already trending up. Now, Caitlin Clark is accelerating it because she's high ratings. Angel Reese as well. People don't like to leave Angel Reese out, but she's very marketable. That's why
they hate watch her.
They hate watch it, but people love her too. Like she's got a shoe deal. She got all kinds of deals. And these companies aren't like you can't sit here and shill for these billionaires because that's what you're doing, right? You're simping for these billionaires when you side with them like this. You can't sit there and act like they're geniuses, they're businessmen, and they know better, but also ignore the fact that they're investing heavily into WNBA, right? And buying teams, these shoe brands, cereal brands and whatnot. They all invest in these players. But I'm just saying, like, you have these multi-billion-dollar industries investing in players and in this league. There's a vested interest in this league succeeding, but we're going to sit here and act like, oh, well, they don't make enough money, and if they don't play, the league's going to fold. Nobody wants a work stoppage, which is why they are going to get paid more, because unlike these other players in these other leagues that are scared, these players will stop playing. They are all for the smoke. They will have a work stoppage, no problem, until they get paid, and they will get their money.
So let's talk about the expansion teams. These new expansion teams, right, Jose? Golden State first year is this year. They paid $50 million in expansion fee. $50 million. It's basically 1 year of Steph Curry's for a fee. So the Golden State basically played 1 year of Steph Curry's contract for a team, right? The next three expansion teams are going to have to pay. They've paid $250 million. That's the fee. Three teams, $250
million.
It went from $50 million a piece. So three teams is going to yield you $750 million.
So 5 times more for the next.
So pause right there. Pause right there. So you're telling me
unrivaled, Cam.
You're telling me the 3-on-3 league that's on TNT is unrivaled. Yes. You're telling me that these teams, was it 3 teams that had to pay $250 million?
Mm-hmm. 3 teams.
3 teams that just paid. That's not to buy the team. That's the fee
No, that's
to
that's to buy the team.
Oh, that's to buy the team. Okay.
Yeah, it was 50 and it jumped 5 times that to 250.
Okay. So they just paid 250. They paid $250 million for their team. You're telling me before they even get to touch the court that they're willing to have a work stoppage? They're willing to have a lockout? You think they're just like, you're not worth it. Fine, just whatever. We'll flush that money right down the toilet.
I just paid $250 million for nothing.
Wait,
No, because so like those 3 teams get 250 each, right? So it's 750. Then the three teams. So people forget Portland and Toronto are playing next year. So that's an extra $100 million because they got in before the 250. Them, Golden State, Toronto and Portland and Golden State got 50 million. So they got in, and they got lucky, right? So
yeah.
So $900 million. The WNBA just got $900 million in fees.
So
they made.
I don't know if people see the trend going on in sports, right? The landscape, right? Like it's not feasible for people to buy into NFL teams anymore. They're worth $7 to $10 billion. Same thing. I mean, the Lakers are just about to sell for $10 billion. NBA, NFL, it's not. It's harder to buy into. You can't buy a team flat out anymore. You got to team up with somebody. There's only a handful of billionaires that can just flat out buy these teams now, right? They're too expensive. So, but sports is a great investment. So the next thing is, well, what else can we invest in that's early in the stages, but we think is growing and is more cost effective for us? Well, MLS, right? Like people are investing more in Major League Soccer. We laughed at that for a long time, and people are starting to buy those teams. Huh?
I still laugh at it. Let me tell you why, Jose. Let me tell you
why.
For
MLS now.
No. Let me tell you why MLS is a little different, because MLS.
Well, I don't want to get too far into it. I don't want to get too far into it. But I'm just using that as an example, right? I'm saying like these other billionaires, multimillionaires that have money that want to invest in sports can't invest in these other leagues like that anymore. So what's the next best thing? Oh, look, WNBA is showing its value. A team that was worth $50 million a couple years ago is now worth $250 million. I want to get in on that, and it shows by the TV deals, by the shoe deals. These women are you've seen them on TV a lot more than you've seen them in the past. Like all signs are pointing towards they're trying to build this league up. It is going to be a big deal in a few years.
Really, what it comes down to is you've got a bunch of let's be honest, a bunch of sexist people who say, "Hey, I don't want to hear these women athletes complaining about the money. That league's broke. Nobody cares. Nobody watches it." On one side, and then on the other side, like I said, you've got a huge jump in TV money. You've got a huge jump in ratings. You've got a huge jump in team value. You've got shoe companies coming in and pouring money into these players, giving them signature shoes, building ad campaigns around them. So the losers like Rob Parker are saying, "I don't want to see women play basketball on my TV." And the people with the money are saying, people like the WNBA, it's going to be big, so we're investing. And the players are saying, "Hey, that's cool. Give us our fair share of the money."
Yes.
Which is right around 50%, which is what every other professional league pays.
Because they're not, because I wrote this down. Like, they're not asking for the same money.
Yeah. They're
asking for the same percentage. Because the max contract in the WNBA is $249,000. So basically $250,000. Players with 0 to 2 years make a minimum of $66,000 a year. And players with 3+ years get a minimum of $79,000 a year, right? That's what they're making. They're making
the max is
the
$250,000.
same money. The max is $250,000. Some of these players barely make $80,000. Some of these women, they're playing it for the love of the game, because some of these contracts they're based, bro. These are government like you make the same amount. Like I don't want to. This is gonna sound disrespectful because it's not. Because I respect sanitation workers all the time. Like they're making the same amount of money as them. Some of them are making less than them. You know what I mean? So like, So it's like, so let's not, shout to the sanitation workers. Respect.
But this is why a lockout is more likely, and which is why the league will fold, right? right? And these owners will fold and pay them because these women already had to get by, right? Find other means of income, because for a lot of them, just playing in the league by itself isn't enough to pay all the bills, right? They've already had to play overseas or just get other jobs, so they're already prepared for a world without the WNBA, because yes, for years they weren't making money, for year and plus there weren't that many teams, so it's hard to make a team. Your
12.
career is so you're planning for a short career, not making a lot of money. You're already thinking about other sources of income, and it's no different now. Now it's getting to a point where players could maybe start thinking about it as a career, and I can live off of just the WNBA. But like we mentioned earlier, Unrivaled, that's a league that kicked up. People can play in that league and get paid. You have leagues overseas that women have been playing in for years, so they're already prepared for a lockout. The owners, especially ones that just paid $250 million for a team that they haven't even seen yet, they're not prepared.
I think
Paige Becker's.
Go ahead.
Paige Becker's already, so she signed an Unrivaled deal last year in college, right? Unrivaled is getting these girls and they're giving them the contracts early. Paige is already making more money in her Unrivaled contract than her WNBA contract.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that a 3-on-3 startup league created by Nafisa and Brianna Stewart are already paying one of your star rookies more than you will ever pay them. She's making $80,000. Unrivaled's giving her $120,000.
The thing is, like, they know that they need to pay the players more, but you have to fight for everything that you get.
Yes.
But I'll tell you this: they've already lost an MVP playing overseas and tearing an ACL. They already had Brodny go overseas and get arrested and be sitting in a Russian prison and miss that season. The money that's coming in makes that not feasible. Like, you're
Brianna
paying
Stewart,
$250 million for a team, and that's only going to go up. There's no way you're going to look at that commissioner and say, no, I'm fine with my star player being out for our season because they had to play somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, Brianna Stewart tore her Achilles in a Euro basketball game with Fenerbahce. Yeah. So Seattle's, you don't think Seattle was pissed the hell off? Brianna Stewart tore her Achilles? Like, they were probably losing their mind. Because Gabby Williams, shout out to Gabby. Man, Gabby Williams is my girl, man. She steps on their neck. She tells them all the time, I'll play in the WNBA. 110%, I will always do it. If you pay me more than the other people. It's that simple. She says, they went to the meeting. They went to the CBA meeting last week,
not
Jose.
for Chicago.
And definitely not for Chicago. She hates Chicago. Gabby Williams, Nafisa, and Satu Sabali, they're at the head of the table with Nneka Abumake. They were said the first 45 minutes of the meeting, Jose, was introductions. Took them 45 minutes to introduce everybody.
But that's usually how
it was BSing.
work.
Nah, they were wasting time and they were BSing and they were trying to piss them off. And
but that's what they do. If OTR Mike was here, he could break it down to you. He's VP of his union, and he's told me about some of the deals that some of these negotiations and how they work. And sometimes you got to walk out just to let them know that you mean business. Like, they're just trying to, they checking the temperature to see what they're willing to do. That's all it is. But B's absolutely right. And it's another thing that you got to account for is that pretty soon, because like B said, the money that they're investing in these teams, they're going to start slipping that into contracts that they can only play in the WNBA. They don't want them playing these other leagues, right? So that's another thing that has to be accounted for as well. So it's good that they're having this conversation now at the beginning so you can hash all that stuff out. Yes, you guys want 50%? Cool. These contracts are going to be changed up. You're only playing in the WNBA. We don't want you playing these other leagues in the offseason. You can only play in the WNBA, and we're gonna split this revenue with you. That's pretty much what it's gonna come down to, and I think that's how it's gonna look at the end of the day.
Yeah, because
excuse me.
Sorry, let me point this out. The NWSL. Let's use another women's league as a reference, the NWSL. It's younger.
Soccer league.
Soccer league, it's younger. I think it's only 13 years old. They finally got their first $1 million contract a couple of years ago, and it was Trinity Rodman. So you're telling me this 13-year-old league can pay Trinity Rodman $1 million total, but this league that's been around since 1996 hasn't even reached that point.
And that league plays a sport that this country don't even like.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
as hard as that
well,
is, like, we don't really care
yeah.
about soccer.
No, we don't. We don't. We care about the women's national team and a lot of women's national team players play in that league. But overall, as a sport, we really don't really care about it. You know what I mean? And Trinity Rodman is one of our big stars. She got $1 million. So you're telling me that Brianna Stewart, Trinity Rodman gets $1 million, but Asia Wilson can't get $1 million total? And I'm not even just talking about $1 million a year. I'm talking $1 million total.
Right.
Asia Wilson.
She said he ain't paying you, Ferris.
It's fine. That's why I kicked him off.
Wow! Finally admitting it.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, but
Let me throw more numbers. Let me throw more numbers at you before we head away. The overall media deal that's expiring was $50 million total annually. Sorry, $50 million annually.
Yeah.
So you go from $50 million annually to $200 million annually, like that.
Mm-hmm. And just to drive that point home, the UFL had a deal that was paying them $20 million a year for TV rights, and their players were making $10K less or the minimum was $10K less than WNBA players, and now the WNBA players got a deal that's 10 times bigger than what the UFL has. So
yeah,
it's just about not wanting to pay them, and they know they're going to have to, but they're going to make the players fight for it. That's all.
Well, yeah, because their union, their executive director, Terry Carmichael Jackson, her and Cheryl Miller still believe the deal was an under evaluation because
I'm
the
pretty sure it
NBA
was.
Because the NBA was negotiating it. So the NBA gets $75 billion from Amazon, ESPN, and NBC. And in the same way, they were also negotiating $2.2 billion for the WNBA. Yeah.
All right. That's going to be the show for this week. Thank you so much, Ferris, for joining us.
We got so many questions.
We had, I think, one. One of them was one we're not answering. Sugarton. We don't talk about that. One I already told Jeremy we're talking about on the overtime show. He asked about an overtime topic. Let me see what we have here.
We'll bring it up so we can tease the overtime show. Jeremy says
about our thoughts on ESPN potentially acquiring NFL Red Zone. Is this good for the fans?
So Patreon.com/LBHTShow. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to the overtime show. You're going to be discussing this. There's news out there of ESPN acquiring NFL Network and the Red Zone channel. All right, so we're going to discuss that, and Trump, trying to bring the Washington Redskins back. Okay, we're gonna discuss that. So you want to be a part of that conversation? That's going to be a lot of fun. Patreon.com/LBHTShow. All right, what's the other question?
So I did not see what Jamison Hensley asked at the press conference. He says, "Why does this is from Urban Closer? He says, why does Jamison Hensley continue his streak of asking horrendous questions? Because he's not a great journalist." I didn't see the question, but that's the answer.
Yeah. Put it in there, and we'll discuss an overtime show as well. I didn't see it, Urban. You have to let us know. He has another question too.
Yeah. Who do you think for the Ravens or for the Panthers and Ravens will be some surprises to make the team? Ones that come to his mind are LeJohntay Wester and Keandre Jackson, just to name a few. I don't know that there's going to be any surprises in Carolina necessarily. I do think if you consider Hunter Renfrow a surprise, I think he's going to make it. I think the safety Damani Nicholson will be back, but like I said, I wouldn't classify those necessarily as surprises. I really don't think there are going to be any for Carolina. Like when you're that bad, it's easy to identify the talent.
Yeah, it's Wester for me. I think Wester might be somebody because look, when you draft 13 players. You forget everybody that gets drafted. He can, get lost in the shuffle. But I think he's somebody that will kind of break out.
Real quick, Suge had a question about the World Series of Poker. I don't know who this person is or what happened, so we can't answer this one. He did have another question. Thoughts on why Hendo is such a hater? That's Hendo from the Rogue Pod. You see him in the chat right there. The reason, Suge, is one, he was born that way. You don't get to that level of hate without, just being born with that gift. Also, Baltimore, born and raised, that's going to get you, it's going to kick you up another few notches. And then he's an elderly man. And as you get older, some people open up to the world. They get more loving and everything, and everything is positivity, and they want to help people. And then some other people get more bitter as they get older. Hendo went the other.
He's also bald.
Ferris nailed that one as well. He does not. He is follically challenged. There's a lot of reasons for Hendo, but I think it's when it really comes down to it. If you want to boil it down to its essence, it's the love of the game.
He also has one knee.
Wow.
He asked a question about how he can improve in the playoffs.
Who?
That's what Hemsley asked.
By playing better. I mean, yeah. Not a great question, Jameson.
So,
yes, to this.
Huh?
Yes, to this.
He asked Lamar Jackson how he could play better in the playoffs.
I don't know. Probably my fucking tight end needs to catch the goddamn ball. Sorry, my bad. I was doing so good.
And thank you, Jose. That's why I was trying to get out before the ticking time bomb went off.
Yes.
All right?
Doing so good.
Every time.
Doing so good.
All right. That's about it.
All right. Thank you, Ferris. Thank you for joining the show.
Thank you.
Let people know one more time where they can find you. Good Friends, Better Rivals, and the other channel is the post credits.
Yeah, but yes. I also have my articles live about my collusion breakdown of the NFL on the Let's Get Ready Network.com. It's there. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
All right, y'all. Ferris will redeem himself in the Overtime Show. Patreon members, get ready. The Overtime Show is starting right now. Everybody else, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Have a great night, and we will see you next time. Peace.